Can you believe this? Joe Rogan sits in a garage talking to people for 3 hours and makes more money than entire news networks? No script, no teleprompter, no corporate boss. Just conversations that reach 200 million people per month. This is the story of how a failed comedian became the most powerful voice in media and destroyed traditional broadcasting in the process.
Joe Rogan wasn't born a media mogul. He was a struggling stand-up comedian bombing at open mics in Boston. Born in 1967, Rogan grew up obsessed with martial arts and comedy. Not exactly a recipe for success. His early career was a patchwork of odd jobs: martial arts instructor, construction worker, limo driver. Comedy gigs paid almost nothing. By his late 20s, Rogan was barely surviving, questioning if he'd made a terrible mistake choosing comedy. Then came the breaks. In 1995, he landed a role on the sitcom NewsRadio. Steady paycheck, but not stardom. In 2001, he became host of Fear Factor, watching people eat bugs for money. Paid well, but creatively empty. His real passion became UFC commentary, talking about fighting while fighters actually fought. By 2009, Rogan was successful but frustrated. TV shows, comedy tours, UFC gigs, good money, no control. He was 42 years old and felt like his best work was behind him. Then he discovered podcasting. In December 2009, Rogan started the Joe Rogan Experience in his garage. No plan, no sponsors, no audience. Just him, a friend, and 2 microphones talking about whatever. It was completely free. No ads, no paywalls. And at first, nobody cared. But Rogan had something traditional media didn't: time. 3-hour conversations with comedians, scientists, politicians, conspiracy theorists, UFC fighters, billionaires. No editing, no commercial breaks, no corporate censorship, just real conversations. The format was insane by media standards. Who wants 3-hour interviews? Turns out, millions of people. By 2015, the Joe Rogan Experience was getting 15 million downloads per month. Rogan was building an audience bigger than most TV shows from his garage, giving it away for free. Traditional media hated it. Rogan hosted controversial figures, conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones, controversial scientists, political outcasts. Mainstream journalists called him dangerous, irresponsible, a platform for misinformation. Rogan didn't care. He called it just conversations. By 2020, the Joe Rogan Experience was the biggest podcast on earth, 190 million downloads per month. Then came the offer that changed media forever. Spotify offered Rogan $200 million for exclusive rights. Not 20 million, not 50 million, $200 million for a guy talking in his garage. The Spotify deal made Rogan the highest-paid broadcaster in history. More than Oprah, more than Howard Stern, more than any cable news host. But it came with problems. During COVID, Rogan questioned vaccine mandates, hosted controversial doctors, spread what critics called misinformation. Musicians pulled their music from Spotify in protest. Rogan apologized for some statements, doubled down on others, and kept podcasting. The controversy didn't kill him, it made him bigger. His audience grew. Why? Because millions of people felt traditional media was lying to them, and Rogan, right or wrong, felt authentic. Today, the Joe Rogan Experience reaches over 200 million people monthly, more than CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC combined. Presidents, scientists, comedians, and conspiracy theorists all want on his show. Appearing on Rogan can make careers, launch books, change elections. He's interviewed Bernie Sanders, Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and homeless people with equal curiosity. His influence is so massive that when he endorsed a candidate, stock prices moved. When he questioned vaccine mandates, White House officials responded. When he interviewed scientists, their research went viral. One man in a garage now has more power than billion-dollar media corporations.
Rogan didn't just build a media empire, he destroyed the old one. Cable news viewership collapsed, newspapers closed, magazine circulation plummeted. Meanwhile, podcasters, YouTubers, and independent creators exploded. Rogan proved you don't need a network, a degree, or corporate approval. You just need a microphone and something to say. But with great power comes great responsibility. Or does it? Critics argue Rogan spreads misinformation without fact-checking, gives platforms to dangerous voices, influences millions without editorial oversight. Supporters argue he's just having conversations, asking questions traditional media won't touch, trusting his audience to think for themselves. So who is Joe Rogan really? A dangerous misinformation spreader, or the last honest voice in media? A brilliant entrepreneur, or a lucky comedian who stumbled into power? The answer is probably all of the above. What's undeniable is this: a failed comedian sitting in a garage talking for 3 hours destroyed billion-dollar media empires built over decades. Joe Rogan proved that in the internet age, authenticity beats production value, curiosity beats agenda, and long-form conversations beat sound bites. Love him or hate him, Joe Rogan changed media forever. The question isn't whether he's right or wrong, it's whether one person should have this much influence without any oversight. And the answer? It doesn't matter, because he already does. Comment: is Joe Rogan good or bad for media? Follow for more stories about people who changed the game.